guys, welcome and welcome back. This week I wanted to do something that I saw on Tyler Rugge's channel a little while ago where he talked about animals that he would never want to own as pets, and I thought that that was a really cool idea because I love so many animals and I'm always talking about how I wanted to have an animal zoo in my house, but there are some animals that I'd never want to own. So for this video, I wanted to focus on things that are commonly kept as pets. So there's some crazy animals out there that I obviously wouldn't keep. Things like tigers and large primates. Anything crazy like that, I obviously wouldn't keep it, but I just wanted to focus on things that people commonly do keep. So the first and most important one is going to be anything that is super venomous. Now, I'm not talking about things like hognoses that have a little bit of venom to where if you get bit and you're allergic, your hand might swell up. I'm talking about things like rattlesnakes and copperheads and cottonmouths and things like that. I know some people keep them and never have any issues. However, I have several small children and I wouldn't be comfortable keeping things like that in my house. I know that Trey Beck has some in his reptile room, but his reptile room is locked up in a garage, I think it is, but they're basically locked up in their cages, locked up in a room, locked up inside of another room. So he definitely has measures to keep those things contained. I do not, so I would not feel comfortable having anything like that in my house where my kids could have access to them. Also, I am a pretty clumsy person and I feel like I would be the one to get bit by a rattlesnake and have to go to the emergency room for having gotten bit by a rattlesnake in my house. So anything venomous like that is something that I am going to avoid and that I would never feel comfortable having in my house. Keeping on the topic of snakes, I would never want to own any huge snakes. So no anacondas or Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, anything that gets that large, I would never want to own. Aside from the space requirements for them, I am not a big or a strong human. I have probably the weakest arms that I have ever witnessed on a human in my life. So trying to handle a snake that gets that large is not for me. I wouldn't be able to do it at all. Next is going to be any kind of crocodilian species, especially dwarf species, because that is something that I see getting sold at reptile shows all the time. If you watched my animal spotlight on the dwarf caiman, Cuvier's dwarf caiman, I still don't know how to say that guy's name, but if you watch my video on that, then you know that I am not a fan of people keeping crocodilians as pets unless they are absolute experts and they know everything that goes into it. And I am not an expert. I say that all the time. I just really like animals and I like to keep animals. So crocodilian species are not one that I would keep. Like I said, they're another one that require extensive amounts of space and extensive amounts of knowledge about them in keeping them. And also they're crocodilians, so they are aggressive and I'm just not a fan of keeping an aggressive animal in my vicinity. I like to keep pets that I can handle or that I can at least look at and enjoy, not one that would eat me if it were given the opportunity. There are a large array of arthropods that I would never keep. So I don't ever want scorpions or millipedes or hissing cockroaches, anything like that, just because they really creep me out. It took me forever to get over the idea of keeping dubia roaches in my house, and I was able to do that because they don't really look like or behave like normal roaches, but roaches really gross me out. And millipedes, centipedes, things like that. My husband and I lived in Korea for a year, and in Korea we had something called house centipedes in our apartment. House centipedes are absolutely terrifying and I hated them so much. They would literally crawl out of the drains and they would be on the walls. Sometimes you would walk into a room and there would be a centipede on your wall, and instead of running, if you tried to kill it, it would charge at you. It would literally rear its head back and charge at you, and they were fuzzy and gross and super fast. They were the absolute worst part about living there because they were terrifying. And ever since that, I don't ever want millipedes or centipedes near me because it just reminds me of that, and it was the worst. And as far as scorpions, I just don't really see the appeal, I guess. I think it's really cool when other people have them, but to me, I just personally don't see the appeal in me keeping one. Maybe the black light ones, those are kind of cool, but just like a normal scorpion, I just don't really have an interest. And the last one on my list isn't a reptile, but it would be birds. If you watched my getting to know me video, I talked about how birds really freak me out because they look like little dinosaurs that just kind of run around, and they have like those tiny little beady eyes, and they really creep me out. I wouldn't say that I'm scared of birds in that if I walk into a room with a caged bird, I'm gonna panic, but it's just not something that I want to hold or that I want to get up close with and interact with every single day. I don't really want one. However, this one's probably kind of cheating because my husband absolutely loves birds, so we will probably eventually end up getting one, and I'm gonna have to get over that fear of birds. But until then, that is not something that I want to own. And that's about it, guys. Like I said, I wanted to do animals that a lot of people own, not animals that exist in the world that would be insane to keep. But that's it. If you're not already following me on Instagram, you can follow me over there at l.622, where I attempt to post pictures of my animals throughout the week. I just wanted to give a real quick shout out to Geckodonia and the Vansicle Herps for going through my Instagram and liking a whole bunch of my pictures. Thank you guys so much. You are the bee's knees. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. I put out new videos every single Sunday. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.